Yeah. Wrap it up. I get the raw and I wrap it up. Yeah. Snagging up. Then with the beef, I'ma stack it up. Yeah. Better rice. I lay it down, then I nap it up. I'm on a roll when I'm macking up. Yeah. Hey, roll it all. Roll it like a bowling ball. Hey, once seafood and beef, oh, pick and hold it all. Do what I would, I never been below the law. Took a bite and the nori went and gave my soul a call. With my path, I don't have time for clearly. I got LPs to make, I guess the haters didn't hear me. If you not about the job, you shouldn't get near me. Assassins fear me, my katana turn them to the kill. Killers turn to Tommy when they try to stop me. Sushi soldier, this became more than a hobby. Flames of passion burning hotter than wasabi. Not gonna stop till I'm number one, better tell somebody, hold up. Back to piling up the bodies, hold up. My katana's hungry, so your time is over. I don't find y'all entertaining it. Maybe I don't know what entertainment is. I'm broke and it seems pay to win. I'ma try to meditate again. I don't wanna have to set it straight again. If you're not trying to elevate a sin, take your time and find a better way to spend. Yeah. And this happened to this integrated with the energy they drain, they bring pain and pinch. Lame boy, you will leave from the lit. Yeah.
Alright, King Lynch, my rapper benefit. I'm a hero, what you wearing just a bit. Pack it up. Aliens trying to meet me. I just sent it over me and ET. Game of all name is a repeat. I'm the predator, I will defeat all my natural enemies.
Plus, restore your memory. Your D-League never wanted to be seen on TV. Young grasshopper wanna be free.
Growing up and accusing the anime posters. Killing but still you're trying to get closer.
Number one, but I feel like a poser. Had to take a break and do it all over.
Now I got bodies so we're feeling bolder. Murder be getting me hard as a boulder.
Ever since no photo was full of cold and frozen. Just felt my heart on my shoulder.
Much like this show.
Yeah. So Lance is still in the extreme chopper following the Sandman. He's just driving around with the lights and siren on in the ambulance. Lights go out in the ring, which was a foreshadowing, actually. Lawler is in the ring when he comes back. He does repeat the exact same promo he cut earlier. In all seriousness, do you think Jerry Lawler knew that Steve Austin used to wrestle in ECW?
I'm sure he did. You know the funny thing about this match? First off, I thought this was like the best match on the show.
Jerry Lawler is so ridiculously good.
Jerry Lawler was arguably the best worker on the show.
No, not arguably.
Well, I say arguably because we also had Dory Funk who did a run-in. It was fucking incredible at 56 years old.
Okay.
But like Jerry Lawler, first off, the thing with Jerry Lawler is everything about this Jerry Lawler in ECW was awesome because it was billed as like a WWF invasion, and there's two types of fans. There's the fans who think that Jerry Lawler was nothing but an announcer with a crown and a cartoon character, and the idea that this fucking guy was going to come to ECW, it's like just heat, okay? Mm-hmm. But then there's the other type of fan that knows the history of Jerry Lawler and how this shit is right up his alley.
Oh, yeah.
And but then, for those fans, he's a fucking hypocrite because he's sitting here talking about how this is extreme, crappy wrestling, all this shit and garbage and blah, blah, blah. And fuck, he came in and had a Memphis brawl with this Tommy Dreamer who can take a fucking beating. And I just was in awe watching this match. Lawler was so fucking good in this match.
Yeah.
And the fans just hated this guy. Although there were a scattering of fans who were chanting for Lawler because they fucking realized how awesome he was.
How great he is. Yes.
But goddamn, this was the best match on the show.
Yep.
He was just fucking awesome. And I didn't like that they kicked out of the pile driver like it was nothing. Mm-hmm. Like Joey Styles freaked out. But it was almost like just a spot in the middle of the match.
Yes, it was.
Like Jerry's beating on him, and then finally he hits the fucking pile driver, and Dreamer just kicks out, and then Lawler just gets back on him again, and they had. Well, you can get into the rigmarole.
Yeah, that's a good word. The body of the match is just tremendous. Dreamer hits the ring, and Lawler jumps him and starts working him over, and nobody ever threw punches better than Jerry Lawler until, unbeknownst to him, Dreamer's holding a hubcap. And so when Lawler rears back for the big haymaker, Dreamer just holds the hubcap up in front of his face, and Lawler punches it and sells his hand. And Dreamer fires back, and Lawler's selling and bumping all over the place. He's screaming for his punches. He's bleeding all over you early. And it's all crowd brawling, and everyone's beer gets thrown on Lawler. Everyone's sandwiches rubbed in his face. They're not using chairs or stairs or tables. They're using light weapons like cookie sheets and hubcaps and belts. And Lawler is just the best asshole heel.
You know what's so great about Lawler, too, when I was watching this was I just thought, fuck, this is why everybody needs to learn how to work. Sure. Because if you can work, I'll give you an example, okay? I watch like AEW, I watch Dynamite and Rampage, and I'm just like, I could never do this. Like, I couldn't do it. I could not do what these guys do. Then I watched Jerry Lawler in ECW, and I'm like, maybe I could make a comeback. Because I was not in any universe as good as Jerry Lawler, but I was watching Jerry Lawler, and it really hit me. If you can work anywhere with anyone, and you can actually steal the show.
Yeah.
Jerry fucking Lawler stole the show at an ECW pay-per-view. And granted, they did some hardcore shit, but they didn't do a lot. But they did enough. They did exactly what needed to be done. Lawler was just a fucking master in this match. He was so awesome.
And you could also tell he was having the time of his life.
Yes.
Because I know he was still working Memphis the whole time, but he had been for many years, for most wrestling fans, the goofy comedy heel announcer on Raw. And this was his chance for the biggest audience he'd had in a while to go out and be a great wrestler. And he was loving it.
As we were talking about on Sunday, we were talking about that show that we went to with Dusty against Jerry Lawler. They didn't do a thing in the match, and the match was fantastic.
Didn't do jack shit, and it was
significantly
great.
less than nothing.
Yes.
So I'm really, really loving this. And then I'm a huge fan of Paul Heyman as an on-screen character. I am significantly less of a fan of Paul Heyman as a booker because he loves to do shit like this. They can't just have two guys fighting a winner. There has to be rigmarole.
Well, it's not just that, but it's like, I'm okay with a little bit of rigmarole.
Yes.
But this was 50 fucking things happened.
Yes. So the lights go out again as they did when Lawler came out, and they come back on. Rick Rude is there with a trash can. So he's there to help Lawler win, right? He hits Tommy Dreamer with a trash can and lays him out, and then he just leaves. He doesn't follow through to see the job is done. There's a reason for him to go, but he just leaves. So that's not the finish. The match keeps going. Lights go out again, and this time Jake the Snake Roberts is in the ring. And no exaggeration, Jake Roberts looks better in 2021 than he did in 1997.
Yeah.
The crowd's totally stoked to see him. Thrilled to see Jake Roberts here. He DDTs Dreamer, and then cuts a promo about how your God giveth and taketh away. My God giveth, but ain't got the balls to do anything else.
He may not have been in a proper state of mind.
I don't know what that meant, yes.
Yeah.
But, so he also clotheslines Lawler. He hates both guys. So he leaves. Then the lights go out a third time, and now even the crowd is sick of this shit. Like, dude, we get it. You have a light switch. Congratulations. This time, Sunny's in the ring. She sprays Brandon Cutler's cold spray in Tommy's eyes. There's the Sunny Beulah catfight. Lawler going out as he came in, the best cowardly heel ever. He goes after Beulah. He teases a pile driver, but when he realizes Dreamer's to his feet, he hides behind her. Just awesome. But she hits him in the nuts. Tommy squeezes his nuts, and then Tommy hits a DDT and wins. The place goes crazy, and despite the piles and piles and piles of bullshit at the end, this is the best thing on the show by a mile.
You know, there were piles of bullshit, but at the end of the day, the piles of bullshit were there to make you believe that Jerry the King Lawler was winning. And at the end of the day, he did not win. And the fans were so happy, and they went crazy. And as much as I could have done without all of the rigmarole, I did get to see Dory Funk Jr. do a run-in, so at the end of the day, I'm fine with it.
That's not this match.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh, there was so much rigmarole, I got my rigmarole confused.
Yeah.
But anyway, I liked that the fans were happy with what they did at the end, and that's what matters in the end.
Now, my favorite part of this match was Tommy was just laying it into Jerry, and he's just whipping him. And then Jerry starts to fire up, and he gets a stern look on his face, and he takes a step back, and he pulls the strap down, and then he does a flare flop.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
It was great.